Reality check. Canada's immigration minister says some will have to go home. Welcome back to Canada Chronicles. If you've been following the latest immigration updates, you know big changes are happening in Canada. From stricter visa rules to shifting immigration targets, the government is making major adjustments that could impact thousands of people. But what does this really mean for international students, temporary foreign workers, and those hoping to stay in Canada? More importantly, who is most at risk of having to leave? Stay with us until the end, because we're breaking down everything you need to know, including a key section where we explore exactly who will be affected by these changes and what options remain for those looking to secure their future in Canada. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on Canada's evolving immigration policies. Let's get started. Canada's immigration shift. A new era of stricter policies and tougher choices. Canada has long been recognized for its welcoming approach to immigration, offering international students and foreign workers opportunities to build a better future. The country has gained a strong reputation for economic stability, high living standards, and clear pathways to permanent residency. However, recent policy shifts signal a more controlled approach. With concerns mounting over housing shortages, a strained labor market, and increasing pressure on public services, the government has introduced significant changes to its immigration strategy. Immigration Minister Mark Miller recently addressed the issue, making a statement that sparked widespread discussion. It is a reality that some folks will have to go home. That is the reality of the numbers we're seeing. This statement highlights a shift in Canada's immigration priorities. While immigration remains an important part of the country's economic and social fabric, policies are tightening, particularly for temporary residents. The government is introducing stricter visa regulations, more rigorous work permit requirements, and increased enforcement against expired visas. For many temporary residents, this means fewer opportunities to transition to permanent residency and a greater chance of having to leave once their permits expire. While this does not indicate mass deportations or a halt to immigration, it does mark a move toward more selective admissions and stricter immigration enforcement. Why Canada is adjusting immigration targets. For decades, Canada has depended on immigration to address labor shortages and boost economic development. Policies encouraged foreign workers and international students to settle in Canada, believing their contributions would strengthen the economy. However, by 2024, the number of temporary residents had reached approximately 1.2 million, an unprecedented figure that placed immense strain on essential services. The housing crisis has been a major driver of these policy changes. Cities such as Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal have experienced skyrocketing housing costs, making both homeownership and renting unaffordable for many Canadians. Rental markets have become overwhelmed, and wages have struggled to keep pace with inflation. Beyond housing, public services such as healthcare, education, and transportation have felt the strain of rapid population growth. Many Canadians have voiced concerns that the country's infrastructure is struggling to keep up. As Canada recalibrates its immigration system, the government aims to create a more sustainable balance between economic growth and quality of life for both newcomers and existing residents. While immigration remains vital to Canada's long-term prosperity, policymakers are now prioritizing a system that ensures new arrivals have access to affordable housing, stable employment, and essential services. This shift indicates a move toward a more selective immigration strategy, where long-term sustainability takes precedence over rapid population expansion. Acknowledging these challenges, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government has announced a more controlled approach to immigration. The 2025 to 2027 immigration levels plan introduces reduced permanent residency targets. Instead of the previous goal of 500,000 new permanent residents per year, the revised numbers are 395,000 in 2025. 380,000 in 2026, 365,000 in 2027. This shift reflects Canada's effort to stabilize population growth and ensure that housing, jobs, and public services can accommodate new residents. Immigration Minister Mark Miller emphasized this in his statement. The Canadian dream sometimes crashes with reality when people face severe affordability challenges in the country. While Canada remains committed to immigration, the focus has shifted toward a more balanced approach to prevent economic and social strain. Thank you for staying with us this far. We appreciate your time and hope this breakdown has provided valuable insights into Canada's evolving immigration policies. Now, let's take a closer look at who will be most affected by these changes and what options remain for those hoping to stay in Canada. Who will be forced to leave Canada? The latest immigration adjustments will have a direct impact on thousands of individuals. However, some groups are at a higher risk of being forced to leave than others. The three most affected categories include international students facing reduced study permits and increased scrutiny, temporary foreign workers encountering stricter renewal policies and fewer job opportunities, individuals with expired visas or rejected applications now facing stronger enforcement. Although Canada is not engaging in mass deportations, transitioning from temporary status to permanent residency has become significantly more difficult. For many, failing to meet the new criteria could mean having no choice but to leave the country. For those affected, the uncertainty of these changes extends beyond just immigration status. Many temporary residents have already built their lives in Canada, investing time, money, and effort into education and employment with the hope of securing long-term stability. Now, with stricter policies in place, individuals who had once seen Canada as a permanent home must quickly reassess their future. As application refusals and permit denials increase, thousands may find themselves facing difficult decisions, including abrupt relocations and financial hardship. The emotional and economic toll on those forced to leave is becoming a growing concern, as many will struggle to reintegrate into their home countries after years of building a life in Canada. The uncertain future for international students. International students have played a key role in Canada's economy, contributing billions through tuition fees and supplementing the workforce with part-time employment. Many have viewed Canada as more than just a place for education, but as a gateway to permanent residency. However, 2024 marked the beginning of a more restrictive approach to student visas. The government introduced a 2-year cap on study permits, leading to a 10% decrease in international student admissions. This decision was made to reduce pressure on the housing market and prevent educational institutions from becoming overly dependent on international tuition fees. Additionally, study permit renewals have become more difficult. In the past, extensions were relatively easy to secure, but now, applications are being denied unless students meet stricter eligibility requirements. Financially, students face another setback with the reinstatement of the 20-hour weekly work limit for those studying full-time. The exemption that allowed students to work full-time during the pandemic recovery period was removed in 2025, making it harder for many to afford tuition and living costs. Immigration Minister Mark Miller made it clear. Studying in Canada does not guarantee permanent residency. People need to understand that student visas are for education, not for immigration. For those who hope to transition to permanent residency, the path forward has become much more uncertain. Stricter rules for temporary foreign workers. Industries such as agriculture, construction, hospitality, and retail have long relied on temporary foreign workers to fill labor gaps. However, the government is now scaling back its reliance on foreign labor, prioritizing employment opportunities for Canadian citizens and permanent residents. One of the most significant changes is the reduction of 30,000 temporary resident permits, making it more difficult for foreign workers to renew their status. Additionally, employers seeking to hire temporary foreign workers must now comply with stricter labor market impact assessment requirements. This means companies must provide extensive proof that no Canadian workers are available before hiring foreign labor. In some industries, work permits are being issued for shorter durations than before, making renewals more competitive and uncertain. Minister Miller reinforced this position, stating, "The temporary foreign worker program was never meant to be a guaranteed path to permanent residency. It is a temporary program, and we need to ensure that it serves its original purpose. For those relying on employment to transition into permanent residency, securing a qualifying job has never been more critical." Canada's immigration future. Canada's immigration policies are shifting, and for many temporary residents, the road ahead is more uncertain than ever. With reduced permanent residency targets, stricter visa rules, and tighter enforcement, securing a future in Canada now requires careful planning and awareness. If you're an international student, a temporary worker, or someone navigating Canada's immigration system, staying informed is your best tool. The policies are evolving quickly, and knowing your options could determine whether you stay or have to leave. What do you think about these changes? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear your experiences and insights. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on Canada's immigration policies. Thanks for watching Canada Chronicles, and we'll see you in the next video.